Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're unpacking a market that's, well, literally at the heart of pretty much every home. We're talking about the fascinating and actually rapidly expanding world of global cookware sets. Our mission, as always, is to dig into the data. We've got the global cookware market, growth trends and regional forecasts report from cognitive market research.
Okay.
And we want to pull out the key insights, the most important nuggets for you, show you the bigger picture.
Absolutely. And this really isn't just about pots and pans, is it? It's about understanding some, well, significant economic shifts and consumer trends, too, on a global scale. We'll take you through some key projections, some surprising facts, actually.
Oh, okay, so let's set the scene. The report says back in 2021, the global cookware sets market was valued at, around $7.9 billion, almost $8 billion.
That's right, 7,891.16 million to be precise, but it's where it's going that's really eye-opening. It's expected to surge past $10 billion by 2025.
$10 billion.
And then an astounding $16.2 billion, that's 16,241.8 million by 2033.
Wow, $16 billion.
Yeah. That works out to a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 6.2%.
6.2%. It's basically doubling in about, 12 years?
Pretty much, yeah. It's set to more than double over that forecast period.
Okay, let's unpack this then. That's serious growth for something we use every day. So what's driving this? And where exactly is all this activity happening? Which parts of the world are really heating up, so to speak?
Well, let's start with North America. It's still a real powerhouse in this market. It generated roughly $3.35 billion back in 2021. That's $3,353.74 million. And it's projected to hit a substantial $6.6 billion, $6,625.98 million by 2033.
Okay.
That's with a solid CAGR of about 5.89%. So steady growth in a big market.
And I guess within North America, the U.S. is the dominant player.
No, absolutely. The U.S. accounted for over $2.7 billion of that in 2021, and it's projected to grow to over $5.1 billion by 2033. That's a 5.54% CAGR. Still very significant.
All right, so big numbers, but maybe not the fastest growth rate in the region.
Exactly. You look at Canada, for instance, it shows very steady growth, moving from just over $345 million in 2021 to a projected $791 million, almost $792 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of nearly 6.7%. Quite healthy.
Okay, 6.7%. But you hinted there might be somewhere even faster.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting for North America. Mexico. Mexico shows the highest growth projection in the region. It's jumping from about $290 million in 2021 to a projected $683 million by 2033.
Wow.
And that comes with an impressive CAGR of 7.76%.
Over 7.75%. That's huge. What does that usually point to?
Well, that kind of rapid increase often signals things like a burgeoning middle class, maybe increased urbanization, shifts towards more modern household amenities, people setting up new homes.
Right. Makes sense.
Okay.
So that's North America. What about across the Atlantic in Europe?
Europe also presents a strong picture, quite stable growth overall. Its total revenue was around $1.4 billion in 2021, and it's projected to reach over $2.7 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of about 5.8%.
5.8%. So similar overall growth to North America, roughly. Yeah. And who are the key players there? Germany, the UK.
Yes, exactly. Germany's a big one. Started at $333 million in 2021. Projected to hit over $686 million by 2033. That's a 6.15% CAGR. And the UK is actually growing a bit faster, projected at 6.85% CAGR, moving from $247 million to nearly $547 million.
Interesting. So even within a mature market like Europe, there's quite a bit of variation.
Absolutely. You see a real diversity in the growth story there. France, for example, is projected around 5.3%, Italy around 5%, solid, but, steady. Then you have Russia at about 5.1%, Spain a bit lower at 4.7%. Even smaller markets show variation. Sweden's at 5.7%, Denmark 4.5%, Switzerland 5.5%, Luxembourg nearly 5.6%.
It really highlights those nuanced economic landscapes, doesn't it? Different factors in each country.
Precisely. Disposable income, housing trends, cultural cooking habits, they all play a role.
Okay, now let's turn our attention to Asia Pacific.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this is where we might see some bigger growth numbers.
You'd be right. Asia Pacific is showing really robust growth. Some cases you could almost say explosive. The market generated over $1.9 billion in 2021, and it's predicted to reach a significant 4.2 cent, nearly $4.3 billion by 2033.
Okay, and the CAGR?
An impressive 6.68%, higher than North America or Europe overall.
Right, and leading the charge there, China, I presume?
Unsurprisingly, yes. China started at about $669 million in 2021. It's projected to hit over $1.5 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR just shy of 7%. Huge market, still growing fast.
And Japan.
Japan's also a strong contributor, growing from $387 million to about $783 million. That's a 5.6% CAGR, more in line with, say, a developed economy.
Okay, but you mentioned faster growth. Where else should we look?
Well, India is definitely one to watch closely in this region. Its market for cookware sets started around $200 million in 2021. It's set to more than double, reaching nearly $490 million by 2033. That's a very strong 7.6% CAGR.
7.6%. That surge really points to that growing population, increasing purchasing power.
Yeah,
Maybe that cultural emphasis on home cooking.
exactly. All those factors contribute. South Korea is also growing well, around 6.5% CAGR.
But wait, didn't the outline suggest an even higher growth rate somewhere in APAC?
Ah, you caught that, yes. While India's growth is significant, it turns out Taiwan actually takes the lead for the highest projected CAGR in the region.
Taiwan. Really?
Yes, projected at 8.13%, growing from about $61 million in 2021 to over $166 million by 2033.
8.13%. That's a huge leap for Taiwan. What's driving that, do you think?
It suggests a very dynamic market that could be rapid urbanization, changing family structures, needing new kitchen setups, maybe a trend towards premium cookware. It warrants a closer look.
Definitely. And we should also mention Australia and Singapore.
Right. Australia's projected at 6.3% CAGR, Singapore just over 6.1%. And Southeast Asia as a whole, looking quite strong too, around 7.4% CAGR. So broad regional uplift across Asia Pacific.
Okay, fascinating stuff in APAC. Let's shift continents again. South America.
South America. The market there was valued at nearly $390 million in 2021, about $386.7 million. And it's projected to reach over $740 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 5.61%.
5.6%. So solid growth. And Brazil leads the way there.
Yes, Brazil clearly leads the pack. It started at almost $170 million in 2021, and it's projected to grow to over $330 million by 2033. That's about a 5.8% CAGR. Reflects its position as the continent's largest economy.
Makes sense. And other key countries, Argentina, Colombia.
Yep, they're showing solid growth too. Argentina's projected around 6.1% CAGR, Colombia just under 6%, about 5.9%, Peru around 5.1%, Chile 5.2%.
So a pretty consistent upward trend across the continent.
Yeah.
Again, maybe that growing middle class story.
Seems likely, yeah. Evolving consumer preferences for more modern kitchenware probably plays a part too.
Okay. That leaves us with the Middle East and Africa. You call them high-growth frontiers.
That's right. Let's look at the Middle East first. It started at nearly $340 million in 2021. That's $339.3 million, and it's projected to hit over $766 million by 2033, showing a strong 6.92% CAGR.
Almost 7%. Very strong. And within the Middle East?
Saudi Arabia shows particularly impressive growth there. It started around $114 million in 2021, projected to hit $274 million by 2033. That's a 7.5% CAGR.
7.5%? Wow. Could be that young population, maybe investment in housing?
Could be. We also see robust growth projected for Egypt, around 6.6%, Turkey at 6.7%. And the UAE is quite high too, nearly 7.3% CAGR. Qatar also strong at just over 7%. So, yeah, vibrant economies, strong consumer spending.
Okay. Now, connecting this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
you mentioned Africa. Did you say it has the highest overall regional CAGR?
I did, yes. Africa stands out if you look at the continent as a whole. It recorded over $480 million in 2021, 481.36 mil. And it's set to grow to an incredible $1.06 billion by 2033. Over $1 billion.
$1 billion from under $500 million. That's huge.
It is, and it comes with a powerful CAGR of 7.31%, the highest regional rate globally.
7.31% for the whole continent. That's a massive signal of market potential.
Oh, absolutely.
And drilling down within Africa, who's leading that charge?
Well, South Africa leads the continent with an truly astonishing projected CAGR of 8.05%.
8%.
Yeah, growing from about $204 million in 2021 to nearly $490 million by 2033, almost tripling.
Incredible. And Nigeria.
Nigeria is surging too, projected 7.73% CAGR, moving from about $161 million to over $375 million.
Those figures are really compelling, suggest, rapid urbanization, rising incomes, maybe a real appetite for modern kitchen stuff as lifestyles change.
Precisely. Which raises a really important question, doesn't it? What do these rapid growth rates in emerging economies, what do they really signify for consumer markets globally? Not just cookware, but beyond.
Right. It points to some fundamental shifts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Behavior, purchasing power. So let's try and connect the dots. What does all this mean for you listening, whether you're into market trends, consumer behavioral, or maybe just curious about the economics of everyday things?
Well, I think the overarching trend is pretty clear. We're seeing, strong growth, but also really diverse growth across all these global regions. And it's really the emerging economies and maybe certain premium product segments that are leading the charge. It's not just about pots and pans, like we said. It's kind of a mirror reflecting deeper societal changes.
Yeah, and seeing that consistent, substantial growth
Hmm.
projected over a decade, it really highlights how enduringly important this market is, how dynamic it is, even for something seemingly simple like cookware. It just shows how central the home and kitchen space remains, always evolving.
So just to recap the key takeaway then, this deep dive really shows the global cookware sets market isn't just growing, it's undergoing these dynamic shifts. Especially, as you said, in those emerging economies. It's like a snapshot of how our homes, our habits, our economies are changing around the world. Exactly. What's fascinating, I think, is how these numbers, these projections, they paint a picture of evolving lifestyles, definitely urbanization, increasing household incomes in so many different parts of the world. At its core, it's a market driven by people making homes. And that's a universal need, and clearly a growing one.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, about the surprising vibrancy of a market we probably take for granted most of the time.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Given these projections, this strong growth, particularly in new areas, what new innovations or perhaps cultural shifts do you anticipate will drive the next wave of growth in our kitchens and maybe even beyond?